Hello, my name is Anthony Ross, and I will be your facilitator today for this emergency preparedness training. Since being certified as a first responder back in 2005, I have completed 3 progressive degrees and compiled 10 years of comprehensive emergency management experience. The safety, health, and well-being of society is a matter of great importance to me. That being said, I'm honored to have the opportunity to provide this training to you in efforts to better serve you, your families, and your clients across the great state of Texas.
Welcome to your emergency preparedness training. The purpose of this emergency preparedness training is to provide participants with the ability to establish individualized emergency preparedness plans for households that include a family member or family members who have a vision and/or hearing impairment. Over the course of the 3 modules, we will be providing you with a comprehensive overview of emergency preparedness, as well as an overview of best practices and procedures for individualized family planning to ensure that you and your family are prepared for a broad spectrum of emergency situations. As the modules progress, we will be joined by Judy Telge and Crystal Lyons, who both have extensive experience in assuring that a high standard of care is provided to individuals with access and functional needs during times of uncertainty. The science behind emergency preparedness explores how to plan and prepare for emergency situations, including man-made and natural disasters. Upon successful completion of this module, the participant will be able to identify preparedness plans for a variety of emergency situations, as well as provide a clear definition of what emergency preparedness is, and be able to compare and contrast preparedness plans for emergencies that can fit into the categories of both man-made and natural disasters. This emergency preparedness training module will provide you with information and educational guidance to assist your clients with the knowledge and wherewithal to prepare their families for a wide range of emergency situations. What is emergency preparedness? Preparedness is defined by the Department of Homeland Security and Federal Emergency Management Agency as a continuous cycle of planning, organizing, training, equipping, exercising, evaluating, and taking corrective action in an effort to ensure effective coordination during incident response. This cycle is one element of a broader national preparedness system to prevent, respond to, and recover from natural disasters, acts of terrorism, and other disasters. In efforts to answer the question of why is emergency preparedness important, we are going to highlight individualized family planning and the importance of emergency preparedness. Each and every household is unique and will need training that fits the dynamics of their families. The health and well-being of you and your family should be held in high regard, with appropriate attention given towards care, peace of mind, and individual needs in times of uncertainty. What is best for my family? When you take the time to reflect upon emergencies or close calls that may have occurred in your home, ask yourself, would I have approached the situation differently? Throughout the training program, we would like you to keep in mind the following question. What is best for my family? Moving forward into the science behind emergency preparedness. Here you will be provided with a breakdown of the types of emergencies before we bring them back together into categories and dive into the specifics of emergency preparedness. Over the course of your life, you may have experienced one or more of these situations. Some of them are life-changing experiences, and some of them can occur as part of everyday life. The thing about emergencies is that they can happen to anyone at any point in time with little to no warning. Reviewing types of emergencies. First off, we have biological and chemical emergencies, followed by pandemics. We have fires, both residential and wildland, floods and dam failure, and extreme weather. As you know, Texas is quite diverse, ecologically speaking. Variances in topography and geographic position pose higher probabilities for extreme weather conditions and associated medical complications. A continuance of the types of emergencies include tornadoes and hurricanes, car accidents, bodily injury, and medical emergencies, active shooter situations, bombings, and terroristic threats. Now that we have reviewed a breakdown of the types of emergencies, let's bring them together. Although emergencies bring their own impacts, both minute and major, they can be categorized into man-made and natural disasters. Man-made disasters are those of which are brought about by intervention related to our own error and negligence, or by an intentional act of crime. Natural disasters are those of which occur due to shifts in environmental factors. Here we have a list of emergency situations that fall into the category of man-made disasters: biological and chemical, pandemics, bodily injury, medical emergencies, active shooter situations, bombings, and terroristic threats. Here we have a list of natural disasters: fires, both residential and wildland, floods, extreme weather, including heat and drought, and winter weather, and associated health complications that align with extreme weather conditions, tornadoes and hurricanes. Moving forward into the preparedness aspect, preparing for man-made disasters, starting off with biological, chemical events, and pandemics. The biological and chemical industries provide thousands of jobs which support our families and local economy. However, these industries come with their own risks. Biological and chemical emergencies can happen at any time. Negligence, human error, mistakes, and unforeseen circumstances can lead to biological and chemical emergencies. These types of emergencies can have negative impacts on the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the natural world around us. Preparing for these events may seem like a daunting task. Having an emergency checklist and emergency kit can serve as a wonderful starting point to ensuring the health and well-being of your family. Things to consider for preparation. You may need to shelter in place, whether you are at home or your place of employment. Also, something you should keep in mind is that your children may be separated from your family for an extended period of time, sheltering at their educational institutions. Suggested items to include in emergency supplies: face masks to help with air quality, filters for the air systems that heat and cool your home. You will at least want to have a mid-grade filter for your air system, with filters that decrease the number of particulates circulating through your home. Keeping a stock of bottled water is also a good idea in case the groundwater becomes subject to contamination from a spill associated with a biological or chemical emergency. You may also want to gather a reasonable amount of non-perishable food items to sustain your family for an extended period of time. Moving on to pandemics. You will want to take many of the same precautions as you would with a biological or chemical emergency. You will also want to spend a fair amount of time taking sanitation into consideration, both at home and outside the home, to prevent spread of or contraction of an illness. Accidents and emergencies can happen at any time, in any place, under any circumstance. It is always important to be aware of your surroundings and be aware of situations that may bring about injury to yourself or others. Equipping your vehicle and home with first aid kits is not only a good idea, but essential and highly recommended. You may also want to have a member of your household become certified in first aid, CPR, so that in the event of emergency, you can attend to and potentially resolve minor injuries and medical complications prior to the arrival of first responders, EMTs, or a trip to the local emergency room. Although how extremely unfortunate devastating, and detrimental active shooter situations, bombings, and terroristic threats are to think of, we have seen an increase in such tragedies in the past decade. The harsh reality is that these situations do happen. However, we can take a proactive approach and be prepared for them as a means to equip our loved ones with the knowledge to remain calm, collected, and safeguard our families. One of the best ways to prepare for the events we're currently discussing is to review, practice, and educate your family on the run, hide, fight model. You may ask, what is the run, hide, fight model? Let's take a look. Beginning with run. Escape and run if possible. Getting away from the shooter or assailant is top priority. Next, we hide. If you are not able to escape, you should hide. Find a quiet place, turn the lights off, and block a doorway if you have the time. If you are able to quietly communicate with the outside world through your mobile device, then it's highly recommended to contact local law enforcement. Lastly, we fight. As an absolute last resort, recruit others and be ready to take aggressive action and force against the shooter or attacker. You may need to throw objects, potentially tackle or hit the assailant with anything you have around you. Situational awareness is key in these types of scenarios. It is always important to be aware of your surroundings. The more aware you are, the better prepared you will be. Fires can be life-changing events. There are many factors that can come into play when dealing with fires. Here's a fun scientific fact. A fire needs 3 things to form and sustain itself. Those 3 things are oxygen, heat, and fuel. Being mindful of what a fire needs to sustain itself can help you to take the appropriate measures necessary to prevent and or mitigate the severity of an incident. Residential fires can happen at a moment's notice, sometimes at the flick of a switch. Some things to keep in mind are: be aware of electrical appliances. You will want to periodically dust, clean, and vacuum behind and underneath large appliances such as your washer and dryer, refrigerator, and oven. Be careful of overloading electrical outlets and monitor electricity usage. Periodically test your smoke alarms and replace batteries. Keep 1 or more fire extinguishers in easily accessible places throughout your home. If you have natural gas appliances or fireplaces, be mindful of signs of gas leaks, such as unusual odors. And keep your identified emergency exits and escape routes free and clear of obstacles, because when it is time to evacuate, you will want to be sure that your family can move quickly yet efficiently to get out of harm's way. Wildland fire can be devastating to homes and communities. Although wildland fire is nature's way to clean up and restore forests and grasslands, they can make their way into what is called the wildland-urban interface. This is where homes and residential areas are impacted. The best defense a homeowner can take to safeguard their home and families is to clean up their yards and property to create what is termed as defensible space. The Department of Homeland Security and Federal Emergency Management Agency defines defensible space as an area around a building in which vegetation, debris, and other types of combustible fuels have been treated, cleared, or reduced to slow the spread of fire to and from a building. Evacuation of your home may be necessary in the event of a fire. This is why it is important to review your family plan, emergency checklists, and ensure that your emergency go bags are ready for the if and when you need to leave your home at a moment's notice. Flooding is a fairly common occurrence, especially for the vast number of residential areas found in and around floodplains and river basins. Flooding can also occur in areas where man-made reservoirs, dams, and levees are present. Reservoirs are a wonderful thing. and they can provide a wealth of resources, such as our daily water supply and a wide range of recreational opportunities. Unfortunately, over time, infrastructure can fail, erode, and give way, leading to flooding of surrounding areas along the topography and natural flow of the land. Across the state of Texas, there are also a wide variety of soil types, such as clay, which can create poor conditions for drainage. The combination of environmental factors and established infrastructure can pose potentials for flooding. Knowing locations of local reservoirs, natural floodplains, and flood zones is an important factor to consider when formulating your family plan. Another important piece of preparedness revolves around staying up to date and informed on changing weather patterns. Listening to the radio, watching your local news stations, and national weather reports is always recommended. Something to keep in mind is that there will be times where you will lose power. Keeping a backup power supply around your home can serve as a lifeline for you to keep in contact with family members and the outside world through your mobile devices. Here in Texas, our temperatures can rapidly rise and fall to extreme conditions. Things you can do to prepare and plan ahead include staying up to date and informed on changing weather patterns on a daily and weekly basis to assist in the prevention of placing yourself in high-risk situations. Once again, staying informed is one of the most important factors associated with emergency situations. Staying hydrated and eating a healthy diet can also lower your risk of health complications associated with extreme temperatures. Dress for the weather. In high heat, be sure to dress in cool, lightweight fabrics. Apply sunblock and use sun protection such as a hat. Take frequent breaks from the heat if you intend being outdoors for an extended period of time. In winter weather or freezing conditions, be sure to wear appropriate footwear. Layer your clothing and keep your core body temperature to an acceptable and comfortable state. In addition to emergency kit, it is also a good idea to keep spare clothing in your vehicle for the if and when unforeseen factors come into play that complicate your situation. Be mindful of outdoor activity, and if possible, plan your schedule around the weather of the day. Be sure to pace yourself and limit exposure to the elements. The health and well-being of you and your family should always be your number one priority. Tornadoes and hurricanes both come as natural occurrences for the state of Texas and can cause devastation and destruction along their path. Preparing for these two can be quite similar in many ways. Depending on the severity level of the event, you will want to do one of two things. First, shelter in place. Designate a safe room, preferably in the center of your home, away from windows, exterior doors, skylights, and major electronic appliances. You will want to furnish your designated safe room with emergency supplies, food, water, flashlights, and backup power sources for your mobile devices and potential medical equipment. You may also want to place an emergency kit and your go bag inside your designated safe room for the if and when you need to quickly leave your home, should conditions change or if your home suffers substantial damage. Second, you may need to evacuate. You'll want to designate a safe location in which you and your family can seek shelter. Evacuation locations may include the home of a friend or family member outside of the threatened area, or perhaps a designated shelter location that satisfies the needs of your family. As this training continues, Modules 2 and 3 will go into specifics and detail of how to formulate a family plan that is unique to your individual household. You will also learn best practices for connecting with emergency management personnel within your community. Furthermore, you will receive step-by-step guidance for emergency preparedness from subject matter experts. on taking action to create an emergency checklist and how to build a go bag to support you and your family throughout the times of uncertainty that surround emergencies and disasters. In summary, understanding the importance of individualized family planning can greatly offset the chances of encountering unfortunate circumstances for those who matter most in our lives. Taking time to formulate your individualized family plan, emergency checklist, and building a go bag will equip you and those who reside in your household with the knowledge and wherewithal to be prepared, stay informed, and stay safe. Thank you for both your time and your contributions in ensuring the health and well-being of our communities here in the great state of Texas. I would like to personally thank you for your time and participation in today's training. It has been my distinct pleasure to provide this training to you from my position as the Texas Gulf Coast Regional Outreach Coordinator, where I serve as a representative of the partnership between the Family and Community Health Unit of Texas A&M AgriLife Extension and the Texas Council for Developmental Disabilities.